span of 150 years since the work of Giotto. This is what a painter called Andrea Mantegna was able to achieve. So this is really, according to me, a true masterpiece representing the crucifixion of the Christ. Actually, the center of the composition is occupied by the feet of the crucified Christ, and from that single point you have a very complicated composition spreading. Mid-1400, actually had in Italy a theologian called Alberti, who declared in one of his books, De Pictura, that paintings should be considered like a window open to the world. And then when I see this painting of Mantegna, I really have the feeling that you could actually step into that frame and discover an infinite world spreading far beyond the frame. It's really like a window. You just open it and go in. Here is one of the jewels of the Louvre, the Virgin of the Rocks. You actually have two versions of this painting. The second one is in the collections of the National Gallery in London. This work was commissioned by the Brotherhood of the Immaculate Conception in Milan, and they were not satisfied by the work, by this painting you see right now. There was actually ambiguity in the iconography due to the lack of attributes and the position of Saint John, who is standing right next Virgin Mary, which is actually the position of Jesus. So they asked Da Vinci to make a second version. He was very angry and decided to refuse to paint it. So he had the job done by one of his partners, Ambrogio de Predis, and this is the second version that you can see in London. So just after you passed the works of Da Vinci in the main gallery, the basic itinerary is just to turn right here and get into the room of the Mona Lisa. So we call it the room of the Mona Lisa, but you have so many other paintings. A lot of Venetian artist works are represented in this room. So the Mona Lisa is actually on the other side. But before we get there, just have a look on this painting. So this work by Veronese was commissioned by the convent of San Giorgio Maggiore in Venice. Was supposed to adorn the refectories where the monks were eating, and they were supposed to have the feeling that they were eating in the presence of Christ himself. This work actually represents the wedding at Cana, a famous episode of the life of Jesus, actually where he made his first miracle. They were turning out of wine, and Jesus changed the water into wine. So you can see there a man filling jars with the wine, red wine. So after the defeats of Napoleon, Venice asked for this painting to be turned back to its original place. But somehow the curators of the Louvre at that time were able to convince Venetians that this painting won't suffer another trip from Paris to Venice. So they just found out an agreement, and France gave another painting to Italy, Charles Lebrun painting, and we were able to keep this magnificent painting in Paris. So the Mona Lisa, masterpiece of Leonardo da Vinci, representing the wife of the silk merchant Francesco del Giocondo, who was a friend of the father of da Vinci. Da Vinci was actually in a short period of his life where he had no patron. So he accepted to depict this portrait. If there is one mystery about this painting, is the reason why he never delivered this painting to his commissioner. Some people say that actually this painting is representing the student of Da Vinci. Da Vinci had a student he was in love with, Francesco Salai, but I don't really believe this this theory. I just think that Da Vinci was just too, he wanted to make things, achieve things to their perfections. And when he was not satisfied with the work, he would just not deliver it. And probably he was never satisfied with the Mona Lisa and decided to keep it to the end of his life. So here, look, most of the people come here, they just go to the Mona Lisa and just think about the Mona Lisa, but there is not only the Mona Lisa, there are so many other works and artists which works deserve to be looked at. So when you get here, you can actually turn right. I would turn right. You could also turn left directly to the romantic corner. But let's go right because I really want to show you some of, actually, it's one of my favorite artists, Jacques-Louis David. He's the leader of the neoclassical school. You have a lot of works painted by him in this room. Neoclassic is actually, if you had to explain what it is exactly, first thing, it's always big sized paintings, and then they exclusively paint mythological or historical subjects. Then the perfection of the bodies and the use of perspective is just flawless. It's maybe some people will say it's too perfect. So here, for example, you have one of his works, Leonidas, very famous episode of Athens history. You probably know about the comic, the Miller's comic 300, and then the movie. This is exactly the same story of the battle between the Greeks and the Persians. And right next to it, you have one of the other masterpieces of the Louvre, the Coronation of Napoleon. So painted just after, it's representing the coronation, which took place on the 2nd of December 1804 in Notre Dame Cathedral. Actually, David started his career before the French Revolution. He was extremely talented. So Napoleon had the idea to use his talents as a painter to serve his own imperial propaganda, and this is by far the propaganda work. Napoleon saw it for the first time. He said to the painter, "This is actually not a painting. We can actually walk into it." You have more than 153 persons. Many of them were able to be identified by modern scholars. It's extremely accurate. It's really a document of history. You can see Napoleon standing in the center of the painting. He's holding the crown. He just crowned himself, and he's about to crown Josephine, who is kneeling on the ground. And behind Napoleon, you have the Pope, Pius VII, that Napoleon has summoned from Rome. He came and waited for hours in the cold cathedral, and finally was not even able to crown the emperor. Napoleon said, I don't need you to crown me, I can do it on my own. In the center of the painting, sitting on the balcony, you have a mother of Napoleon, Letizia Ramolino. She was actually not attending this coronation because she was showing her disapproval of Napoleon for firstly marrying Josephine. So she decided not to come and attend the coronation ceremony, and Napoleon asked the painter to add her in the painting. So in a certain way she was photoshopped. In here a portrait, self-portrait of Jacques-Louis David. So the painter is great. He is a great artist. It's one of my favorites. I love him so much. Thank you, David, for giving us so much joy and pleasure. Géricault, we left actually. Géricault. Theodore Géricault actually didn't live that long. I think he died at the age of 33 from a disease. Didn't really have time to leave an important legacy. But you have a work called Raft of the Medusa, which was presented at the painting salon of 1819 and created a big scandal. So this painting by Géricault is actually based on a true story that happened just a few years before the painting was done. It's about a shipwreck that happened not far away from Senegal, and due to a lack of safe boats, the captain has left most of his crew. Those who were left behind had to build a raft that drifted away on the oceans for almost 2 weeks. There were more than 150 persons first, and only 15 survived after they went through madness, riots, fights, cannibalism. Actually, 2 of the survivors decided to write a book to tell about what happened to them. And that's the book here. This is a French version. The Shipwreck of the Medusa, written by Alexandre Correard and Jean-Baptiste Savigny. This is an extremely dark painting where the painter tried to really convey all the feelings of the crew, sadness, mourn for the loss of beloved people. Here you can see a father holding the body of his dead son, and then there are people waving to the boat. It's too small to be seen here, but there's a small boat appearing on the horizon. As we turn right, we can access the Court Napoleon and glass pyramid again. But I just thought it would be interesting for you to have a short idea of what kind of itinerary, simple and complete itinerary you could use when you come to the Louvre. But you have many other possibilities. If you have questions, comments to do, please leave a little message just down in the comments. I will be very happy to read them and answer them. So please stay tuned, and hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye bye.